Hi, today I will be arguing that we need to raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour. I currently work at Target for that rate, and I could not imagine having my paycheck cut in half to be paid at the federal minimum wage of $7.25. I even understand that other college students my age cannot even obtain that wage. We must raise the federal minimum wage so it can fulfill its original purpose, increase public health that poor wages have caused, and benefit millions across America. Unlike most people's perspective, the minimum wage does not primarily support high school and college age students. According to the Economic Policy Institute, the majority who would benefit from raising the minimum wage are people ages 25 to 54. Only 10% would be teenagers. And as we've seen in this pandemic, people who work low-wage workers are essential to American society, but we chose to pay them low, non-livable wages. The Journal of Economic Perspectives has an article titled Raising the Minimum Wage that looks into its history. And in 1930s, President Roosevelt spoke of the need to end starvation wages, and Senator William Borah proclaimed that people worthy of hire are entitled to sufficient compensation to maintain a decent standard of living. This was when the Fair Standards of Labor Act was being debated in the 1930s, that was passed in 1939 to establish the minimum wage. The minimum wage was meant to be a living wage, but at the hourly rate of $7.25, the yearly income would only be about $15,000. And if we look at the Department of Human Health and Services, the poverty line for people of a single household would be around $13,000, meaning that the amount from the minimum wage to the poverty level would only be about $2,000. How could that be a living wage? According to the American Journal of Public Health, if we see an increase in the minimum wage, we will see an increase in public health. When we have poverty wages, we see an increase in premature deaths. If we see an increase in the minimum wage, we will not only see a decrease in premature deaths, but also a decrease in smoking, infant mortality, and antidepressants. We need to focus on improving the public health by improving the minimum wage. But some people may be worried that increasing the minimum wage will cause job layoffs. The Journal of Labor and Economics argues that we will not see layoffs directly after the raise. We will instead see a lack of new hires, but this will only last a short time after the raise. But it will lead to a job spillover increase of people who make up to $17 an hour. The Pew Research Center says that 2/3 of Americans support raising the minimum wage. Most of those people are women, Hispanic, African Americans, and other minorities, or just those who would benefit the most from this. And I think those people are the ones who can see that the minimum wage does not support the people. The American Psychological Association argues that we need to destigmatize low-wage jobs. Many people will categorize these jobs as just burger flippers and see them as undeserving of a pay increase. But most of these workers are substitute teachers, grocery store workers, and home care workers, or just students like you and me trying to pay for our education. Most of these people are trying to work to pay for rent, food, and mostly survive. Everyone deserves to have the same dignity of those who work a quote-unquote real job. We must fight to raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour, to give dignity to the important jobs that we need in society. We can do this by voting in our state, local, and federal elections, joining organizations like Fight for 15, and calling our representatives directly and demanding their support to raise the minimum wage. We must raise it to fulfill its original purpose and give people the chance to not only survive, but also thrive.